earlier, we are going to start with the first practice exam, and then the second one, and finally the third one. We'll go over them as quickly as possible. If you have no questions, we just go ahead, and then I will open the floor for all of you to have any questions concerning any of the tenses or any examples or maybe some of the answers to uh, the practice exams you did not understand. We'll go over them one by one. So if you don't mind, I will switch to the first practice exam. That's the one that starts with 5 years. Okay. You all have it in front of you. Yes?
Can you share your screen, please, teacher?
Sorry, I didn't hear you very well.
Can you share your screen with us?
Um, Let me see. You have it now?
Yeah.
Yes, you have it?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes, sir.
So let's start with this one. I will go over it. And then once I come to a verb that you don't agree with the correction, wherever, you just ask your question, then we'll talk it over. Is that right?
Yeah.
But you'll have
Yes,
to
sir.
be very quick. Okay. So 5 years have passed. Why? It's present perfect because we are talking about from the past up to now. So 5 years have passed since George started. So George started at one time, and since then, 5 years have passed. Uh, so, Sorry, but some of you have their microphones on. Can you please turn them off so that we don't hear this noise? Good. So then 5 years have passed since George started to work for the Sun newspaper until last October. So that means we're talking about until last October, and the action happened before last October. So obviously his boss had never given him the opportunity to exhibit his talent as a reporter. So far, so good. However, one day in the morning, while George while, so then if we have while, obviously we're talking about an action that was going on. While George was going into his office, in the middle an action, he met his boss, who at that time asked him to follow him into office. Next paragraph, George thought at that time, what did he think? That his boss would order him to do some slave work again, as usual. And he cursed at the same time, as as it's like while as he was following him. The boss offered him a seat and started at that time to tell him about a murder that, so the murder happened before he talked to him. So that had just happened. Yes, please.
Teacher, sorry to interrupt you, please, but are you sharing your screen?
I guess so.
Yes, he is.
Because it's not working. We can't see it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if it's working for some, normally it should be working for everybody.
It's working.
Okay.
Yes, teacher, it is working for me.
So it's strange that it's not work. It's working for some and not
It's
working
also
for everybody.
working for me.
It's working for everybody then, or at least the majority of you.
No, it's working.
Yes.
Perhaps about a connection.
Yeah.
Okay, so then if it's connection, we can't help it. Uh, okay, so shall we proceed?
Yeah, it's working, teacher.
Okay, so then George thought, oh, sorry, the boss offered him a seat and started telling him about the murder that had just happened. So then it happened before he talked to him. So obviously, here we need the past perfect. And then we have, after that, number 14, we have quotation marks. So that's a direct speech. So obviously, he's talking now. Take a camera. So this is imperative. Now, I am telling you, take a camera and some films with you. I want you now. I want pictures of the place and a report tomorrow morning. His boss, what said? Then now we have switched from direct speech to, okay, the past. Okay, so far you have no questions as far as this first page is concerned?
No.
It is clear
Okay.
now.
Mhm. George assured him that he would do. So here, uh, obviously, we are reporting because in direct speech, what did George actually say is, I assure you that I will do. So now we are reporting what he said. So I assure you becomes George assured him that I will do becomes that he would do. So present becomes past and future becomes conditional. George assured him that he would do his best to cover the whole story. And then I was told that. What structure is this in grammar? What do we call this in grammar? I was told. Yes, everybody, can you tell me?
Reported speech?
No, I was told is not reported speech.
Passive voice.
Very good. It's the passive voice. The passive voice. So here it's in the past simple, but it is in the passive voice not. Okay. So if it's not in the passive voice, it's not in the active voice. So active versus passive. So instead of someone told me that, someone told me that, we transform the sentence into the passive voice. I was told that. Now, the reason why I am talking about this is that I want to inform you that you will have some of these cases in the final exam. That means you have to be careful about some verbs that will require to be put into the passive voice. In addition to putting the verb into the right tense, you also have to put it into the passive voice. So you have to read the sentence very carefully in order to understand the meaning. So here I cannot say I told that, because it's not I who told, but someone told me. So I was told that, and now I am moving to the next page, that the criminal had killed. Why had killed? Because it's before someone told me. Past perfect. Had killed 5 girls in a week, and the police, here I am using are looking, because if you say were looking, that means they stopped looking. But in fact, they are still looking. And here, remember, we are talking in direct speech. This the person is talking now. I was told, that is, someone told me that a criminal had killed, and that now the police are looking for him everywhere. The boss added. Now we finished with direct speech. Okay, we are talking about the past.
Professor, can I ask?
Yes, of course, of course. As I
Why?
said, okay, wait. As I said, I will proceed paragraph by paragraph. Once you feel that there is a verb that you don't understand why it is in this tense, you ask for the hand, I will give it to you. Yes, what is your question?
Professor, why we didn't conjugate the verb kill in the present perfect, like have killed?
Why do you
Because
want to put it into the present perfect?
Because sometimes the past perfects and the present perfects are the same.
No, they
We
are
Yes,
never. Okay, first of all, they are never the same. Past perfect and present perfect, not sometimes, never. They are never the same.
because I
Past perfect.
noticed their functions, and
Mhm.
sometimes I just confuse between them.
Well, you should not be confused. So let me tell you now for sure. Past perfect talks about any action that happened before the past. Very clear. So you have a past and you have
Mhm.
another action before the past. Present perfect talks about the past and or the present. So it
Talks
does
about
not
the
talk
past.
about something that happened in the past, but in
Mhm.
an indefinite time. For example, I have already met him. It's in the past, but there is no specific time. But
Now I
also,
understand.
you can say, I have worked here for 2 years. That means I started in the past and I still work. So there is a combination between the past and the present. So there is no ambiguity between the past perfect and the present perfect. Past perfect, very clear, very easy. It happened before another past. So here we cannot put present perfect because it's clear the action of killing happened when? Before someone told the boss. Because the sentence, I was told, so let's say someone told me 2 days ago that the criminal killed. But when did he kill? Before someone told him. So then the criminal had killed. So here it's
Mm,
very clear. We must put the past perfect, not the present perfect. Shall
thank
we
you,
move to
teacher.
the
It's
next
clear now.
paragraph? Okay, next paragraph. An hour later, George, here we have was driving because it's an action that requires time. An hour later, after the meeting with the boss, George was driving in his old Ford, and here I could accept listening or was listening, but listening alone is enough because the two actions happened at the same time. And was listening to his favorite song, A Candle in the Wind. He made plans to meet the chief police officer, but wondered, here it's all in the past, but wondered whether families of the victim would be willing to be interviewed. Here we have to bear in mind that will in 27 is not a modal, but it is a verb. Can anybody tell me what does this verb mean? To will? Yes, anybody?
To want.
To want, very good. So
To
to
allow.
will, to
To happen.
allow if he wants. Sorry, to?
To happen.
No, will is not to happen. Okay, will
To
has
desire.
the meaning
Be
of
able.
To permit.
no, simply to want. I think the best one would be to want or to have the intention to do something. That's all. And of course, we can derive from the verb will an adjective, willing. I am willing to help. That is, I have the intention to help. I want to help. So willing is an adjective. So will here is used as a verb, not as a modal for future. So then, if it is used as a verb, it would be considered as a verb, and so it requires an auxiliary. In this case, would be willing. So he wondered whether families of the victims would be willing, that is, would accept, would like to be interviewed. He was only 3 or 4 miles from the town when rain started to fall. What happened? He slowed down a little. For though he, and number 31, here we have he is, not he was. Can anybody tell me why we put is and not was?
Because it is a fact, maybe.
Very good. Not maybe, it's clear, because if we
It's the
say he
fact.
was, that means he was a good driver and now he is no longer a good driver. But we put the present
Yeah.
simple because it is a fact, it is still true. So then here we
Teacher.
have a text, that talks about the past, but here we have a fact that is still true. You cannot use the past. Yes, go ahead with your question.
Sorry. Here, he make plans to meet the
He,
chief police
he
officer.
made the plans.
Why we didn't like? We cannot say he was making
Why
plans.
we didn't? Sorry,
He can't we say
I
he
didn't
was
get you.
making? Oh,
Why he
uh,
was making? He was making. It's a long
yeah.
action that requires another action in the middle that is short, which we don't have here. The verb to make
Okay.
happened, and that's it.
Okay.
Of course, if we can talk about another action, he was making, okay, a cake when someone entered. Here, you can accept he was making, but here it's a one short action. He made plans, etc. So then he is a good driver. He hates. It's again a fact. He hates driving in rainy weather. Next paragraph then. Two police cars overtook him, and George thought at that time that some very serious matter had happened when? Before they overtake him. So then here we have the past perfect because whatever happened before the two police car overtook him. And so what did he do? He decided to follow them. I'm scrolling down the screen again. He was afraid because the rain was getting heavier. So here it's continuous action, not it got finished. It was still getting heavier. And he remembered what? The accident he had, that is before that time, 2 years before in a similar weather condition. Okay, now we have come to the middle of this text. A few minutes later, what happened? He parked his car in front of the police station. When he asked a police officer about the crime, he again what? He was told that. What form is this? Yes, everybody?
Passive voice.
Passive voice.
Passive voice.
Passive
Very
voice.
good. Again, the passive voice. So please be very careful. You will definitely have some cases of this in the final exam. So you have to understand the meaning. So here, if you put he told that the criminal, it doesn't make sense. But he was told. So that means someone told him. He was told what? That the criminal was reported to be hiding, still hiding. Was reported, that is, someone reported. Someone gave a report about him, about the criminal, to be hiding in a farm not far away. So what happened at that time? He jumped into his car and headed. Here the verb head means, yes, anybody, can you tell me what is the meaning of the verb to head?
He went straight
To take the way.
the place.
Take away.
Not take
Taking
away,
the
but
direction.
good.
He went straight to the place.
No, it's simply to go in the direction. Okay, so he headed for the place, so to go in the direction of the place where he was told about the criminal hiding. No sooner I got this situation. Someone asked me in Google Classroom about the necessity of having what we can call subject-verb inversion. In English, when we start with no sooner or hardly ever or whatever, immediately we must have a subject-verb inversion. And we also must have past perfect because we are talking about two actions, one that happened before the other in the past. Two actions in the past and one happened before the other. So for the first action, we have the past perfect. So here, no sooner had George arrived than he started. So then, okay, he arrived first, and after that, or immediately after that, he started to take pictures of the place. You got that, please, everybody?
Teacher, please.
Yes.
Could you repeat this point, please?
Okay, so here we have this expression in English like no sooner or hardly ever. Okay, if we start the sentence with them, we must have inversion. That is, after no sooner, we have the auxiliary and then the subject, and after that, the past participle of the verb. So no sooner had auxiliary, subject George arrived. So the verb is in the past perfect. Why? Because this is the first verb or first action that happened. George arrived. After that, he started to take pictures of the place. Two actions in the past, one that happened immediately after the other. So the first action is arrive, second action is start to take pictures. Okay?
Professor,
Yes, please.
do we have to use the past perfect when we have the expression no sooner?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Because if we are talking about the past, immediately we have no sooner. That means we have to expect that there are two actions. Both of them happened in the past, but one happened immediately after. So how do we know it immediately? It's the word no sooner. So then no sooner than one action happened, another action happened immediately. Okay, I will carry on. Number 49. It was a rundown house. So that's the place. The place was a rundown house surrounded by bushes. And about 20 policemen had already been there. Also, past perfect. So the policeman had been there when? Before George arrived. So then here we have to make the verb in the past perfect. Ready, that is the policeman, ready to attack the criminal. A man wearing a leather jacket and blue jean, what happened? Came out. Okay, he came out of that place. I'm scrolling down the screen to page 3. Came out of the house. Yes, question, go ahead.
Sorry for interrupting you, but there are some students who want to enter this meeting and they want to accept them, please.
Okay, I will check if I
Thank
have
you.
any. Oh, well, I have only one. Oh, yes, yes. 2. Oh, no, quite a few. Yes, I have accepted 7 more. It's okay. So one of the policemen, what did he do? He ordered him to drop his gun and surrender. No less than a second later, gunshots were heard. What type of form of verb is this again?
Passive voice.
Passive voice. So be very careful. Just 1 minute to admit a few more.
Passive voice.
Yes, passive voice. That's it. So, gunshots were heard. So then, people heard gunshots everywhere. And the bullet hit George's car. After that, what do we have? We have quotation marks. So that means we are talking about now. George said, I feel as if I were watching a crime. Here, crime movie. So here again, I received a question on Google Classroom about this. Why we
I have
use
question,
I
please.
care. Yes, what is this question? Yes, go ahead with your question.
Why we use I feel? I think that I thought that if I felt because it's in the past, he felt it in the past.
Yes, I know the
was
text is in the past. Okay, the text is in the past, but before I, you can see here a quotation mark. Do you see that on the screen? Yes? There is a quotation mark between before I and after movie. Can you see that quotation mark?
No, not
So
about.
So I feel as if I were
Even
watching.
if he was telling it now, it's something that he felt then. He's not feeling it right now. He felt it then when he was there.
I understand that it's something that he felt then, but we are not talking about that something that he felt then. If that is the case, we wouldn't have the quotation marks. The quotation marks are used in order to show that we are talking about now.
Also, teacher?
Sir, we can't see your screen.
Yes?
Teacher, also there is as a reported speech there, George later told. So this is just a phrase that George who speak
Yes, he was talking to himself.
Yeah.
George was talking to himself, and he was talking to himself, and we are using this in a direct speech. That's a technique in English to show that we are talking about now. We're not talking about the past. So this quotation marks before I and after movie shows that this sentence is spoken now at this moment. That's why we need to put it into the present simple. So this is maybe a trap
Yes,
that you
teacher.
have to be
But
careful about.
he talks about
You have to be
something that
careful.
he felt there. He
Yes,
was telling the other policeman that he felt, the other journalist, that he felt like he were watching a movie, not
okay.
that he's feeling now like he were watching a movie.
Well, in fact, he is talking now, not in the past.
That's the confusion.
Why?
I
Okay, how do we know
yeah,
that
the
he's
feeling
talking
he
now?
had, he doesn't have it now. He had it then.
It's well, in fact, whenever you see the quotation marks, that means we are talking about now, and that means the verb must be in the present simple. Okay, that's
Teacher?
something that you must know. Yes, please.
Teacher, we can look at the end of sentence. George later told he's the boss. He reported the speech. He talked about himself.
Very good. Yes, very good. Okay, so George later told his boss, what did he tell him? I feel as if I were watching a crime movie. So here we are putting exactly his words, and we are putting them between quotation marks. So that means we are putting them as if they were said now.
Teacher,
Okay,
teacher,
if
sorry
not,
for interrupting.
okay, just wait before you ask. Probably what I will say will make it clear. Now, if we said
Teacher,
George later told his boss that he felt as if he had been watching a crime movie, fine with me. George later told his boss that he felt. So here, no problem. We are talking about the past. But we have George later told his boss. What did he tell him? We have what he told him in direct speech. So
Sir,
that
we can
means,
see your presentation.
sorry?
We can see
We
your
can see the
presentation.
screen.
Someone were
Um,
presenting instead of you.
I don't understand. I mean,
You can just pin it, guys. It's easy.
There's a small screen in the middle. Click it.
You don't. Thank you so much.
you got it?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Okay. So then I hope you understand this situation of number 54 and 55. This is not reported speech. This is direct speech. And direct speech, you consider it as if someone is talking now. So if we did not have those quotation marks, then we would say after George's car, full stop, George later told his boss that he felt as if he had been watching a crime movie. Here it's problem. It's not a problem because we are talking about the past. But
Teacher,
it's
we
not
don't
for-
argue about the problem of reported speech. That's the context of the text. If it was another verb, maybe it will be in the present. But the
No,
verb
no, it's
feel
not about
is
the
something
verb.
that he
It's not
felt
about
in
the
the
verb. No. It's not about the verb. It's about the quotation
context.
mark.
I don't think that he would
No,
say,
it's
I
not
feel
even.
like I were watching a movie.
No,
But
no.
he
It's
said
not about the
later
context.
that he felt.
Okay, let me repeat. It has nothing to do with the context. has nothing to do with the verb feel. It has to do with quotation marks. It's direct speech or reported speech. Direct speech, you are talking now.
I know,
Reported speech,
teacher, I understood that, but I think that in the direct speech, George said in the direct speech, he said that I felt. He didn't say I feel,
no,
like he was feeling it in that moment.
no.
But he was talking about something he felt. He felt when he was getting shot at, not when he was talking to his boss.
Well,
It's not
what
something
you
that
are
he felt
saying
when he
is,
was talking to his boss.
okay,
It's not something
yes,
that he
I
was feeling at
understand.
that moment to say, I feel.
Okay, I agree with you. So then, if we are talking about what he said, okay, if we are reporting what he said, well, George later told his boss that he felt. Here it's clear. But now, what we are going to do is to report exactly what he said. To report it as if it is said now. That's what I want you to understand. We are reporting
If we reported speech,
reporting
it
what
will be that
George
he had
said.
felt, not he felt.
Yes, if we had he felt, then we will have to put in reported speech he had felt.
That's all, that's right. So in the
Okay.
direct speech, it would be I felt.
No. In direct speech, what do we mean by direct speech? It's as if George is talking now. Now imagine George is with us
George is
exactly
talking now
now.
about something.
No.
But we can't say in
George
direct
is talking.
something in the
George is
past,
talking now
can't we?
as if
We can't talk
as
in
if
direct speech about something we had felt.
well, I think here what we have to make clear is the difference between direct speech and reported speech. When we say direct speech, what we want is to repeat exactly the word said as if they are said now. Okay, now let's imagine we are talking about the same situation. I feel as if I were watching a crime movie. So here, well, we are reporting exactly what George felt during, but we are not reporting his words, we are reporting what he felt. Now, how he felt that is through the direct speech. I hope you got that.
Teacher,
But anyway, yes, please.
I'm sorry for interruption, but some people cannot see the screen. They don't know how to pin your screen.
I don't
Can
know,
you just stop it and reshare it again?
Okay.
Because they don't know the pin thing.
What about now? Is it visible now?
Yeah, it's working.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, teacher.
Okay. Okay. When the shooting was over, that is finished, what happened? George took pictures of the criminal who at that time was lying or who lay. I will accept both here, past continuous or past simple, because in both cases they express more or less the same. Now I will move on to the next paragraph. Number 59. So the parents of some of the victims that we have interviewed, having interviewed. So here there is something that is missing, and that's why we have been obliged to put the verb into this form. Normally, what would be the normal form of the sentence? Can anybody tell me?
Teacher,
I'm
we can
talking about
simply
59. Yes?
teacher, we can simply say interviewing the parent of some of the victims, or because I didn't really get the having interviewed why
Okay,
we use
but
it like this
that's why
form.
I am asking about the original or the full sentence, because something is missing. Well, in fact, what is missing is after and he. Suppose we had after and he. After he, yes,
After
how
he
would you put
interviewed.
the verb?
After
Well,
he
in
had
fact,
interviewed.
yes, after he had
Interviewed the parents, yes.
so
Returned home.
So here, here we have two sentences that have the same subject, George and he. In this case, it is possible to remove the first subject, and we understand we are talking about the same person. So instead of after he had interviewed, we have having interviewed the parents of some of the victims. Who? George returned. So when did he return? He returned after, first of all, interviewing. So then this structure is possible when we have the same subject in both sentences. So George returned home late in the evening. Why? To write his report, which he handed in to his boss when? The day after. The boss, what did he do? He read the report, and at that time was really so happy that he promised he would appoint him. He promised he would appoint him. This is again reported speech. Can you imagine with me the direct speech? What did his boss exactly say? What were the boss's exact words? Yes?
I think he said, I will appoint you.
No. He said, I promise I will appoint.
I will appoint you.
I promise I will appoint.
I will.
This is in direct speech. Now, in reported speech, it became he promised he would appoint. What? Head of the crime section in the newspaper soon. When his colleagues read the article, they congratulated him for the good job that he had done. Notice that here is missing. It's not used, but it's implicit. So the job or the good work he had done before, those congratulations really enhanced. Can anybody tell me what do we mean by the verb to enhance?
Sir, develop.
Increase.
Increased, yes. Added.
To booster.
Boosted, yes. Very good. Yes,
To improve the
very
quality.
To improve.
To rise.
Increase.
To raise, not rather to rise, but to raise.
Motivated him.
Okay, last paragraph. George now George now has his own office. So I'm talking about now. So we have finished about the story. Now George has his own office and his own secretary. From the past up to now, that's why we're using the present perfect. He has covered most of the crimes that, again, the crimes that have happened from the past up to now in the country lately. And of course, when we have lately, exclude that we must use the present perfect. He has even been to Italy in order. So then here, it's an action that happened in the past, but we don't know when. He has even been to Italy in order to write about the mafia there. Another thing, at this moment, he is also writing a detective story, which he thinks now that he will have finished. What tense is this? Will have finished.
Future perfect.
Future perfect. Can anybody tell me what we mean by the future perfect?
Can I, teacher?
Yes, go ahead.
Completed action in the future.
Mhm. It's an action completed in the future, but then before another action in the future. That's why we need to put the future perfect. So we need to put the future perfect if we are talking about two actions in the future, and one will happen before the other. So I will put for the first one that will happen before future perfect, and then the future simple. Okay? So
Teacher,
here
please.
he thinks, yes.
Sorry for interrupting you. Can you please accept some students that they want to join us? Please.
Okay. I will
Thank you, teacher.
change the screen, and I hope that you will still see. Okay, I hope you are still seeing the screen. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
عندك
Okay,
لا ولكن
carry on. So
كيفاش
here we have used the future perfect because we are talking about next year, in June next year, and the action will happen before June next year. So then he thinks he will have finished by June. So June is the deadline, and the action of finishing will happen before that June. So that's why we can put the future tense. And hopes, again, because we're talking about now, it's a fact, a film will be made again, another verb in the passive voice.
Teacher, can I ask you?
Yes, of course.
Teacher, when it's a fact, we always put the present simple.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Fact or a habit, always present simple. Okay? A film director who seems, because we are talking about now, who seems to be interested, okay, what happened? Has already contacted him. When we have already, it's clear we have to put the present verb. And this way, we have finished with this first one. If you don't mind, I will move on to another second one, I guess.
Sir.
Yes, please.
Please,
You have a
can you
question?
repeat? Can you repeat the verb number 59, please?
59. Why did you wait this long to go back to 59?
I'm sorry, sir.
59. I'm scrolling back. 59. Having interviewed, is that the verb you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here we have two verbs in the past, to interview and to return. And we have the same subject, he and George. In this case, when we have the same subject, it is possible to remove the first subject and simply to put the verb into normal, what we can call present participle or past participle. Here we need to put it into the past participle because we are talking about the past. The two actions happened in the past. First, George interviewed, and after that, George returned. The normal sentence would be after George had interviewed the parents of some of the victims, comma, he returned. Now, in this case, we have removed the subject. So if we don't have the subject, the verb can no longer be conjugated. So we reformulate the verb into the participle. So then we use having interviewed the parents of some of the victims. So someone will ask, who is the person who has interviewed? We will have it after the comma. Having interviewed the parents of some of the victims, comma, George. So George interviewed first and then returned. So the normal structure is two verbs in the past and the same subject. Two verbs in the past and the same subject. If this is the case, then the first verb is in the past perfect, second verb in the past simple. And of course, because we have the same subject in English, it is possible to remove the first subject. If I remove the first subject, the verb can no longer be conjugated. So then it will change into the participle. And in this case, since we are talking about the past, the participle will be having, okay, interviewed. And then we move on to the next. Is that right?
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay, so we will move on to the next one. I'm trying to share, I hope. Can you see that? Second one?
Yes, sir, we can see it.
Okay. So again, as I did with the first one, I will read very quickly and then move on. If you feel that there is an answer that you don't understand, why we put, I don't know, present continuous or past continuous, you stop. Okay? It was 2:00 a.m. The streets were empty in the past, except for the cars which were parking on both sides of the streets.
Sir,
Detectives called. Yes, please. Yes.
why you use past continuous?
Want to use instead of the past continuous. Do you have any
Can't
other
we
suggestion?
can't we say park? Because I guess it's past. It's they're not parking.
Okay, so what do you want to say for the cars which parked?
Kind of.
Is that your suggestion?
Yes.
But the cars cannot park.
No. I mean, we should say park.
You mean which were parked?
Is it possible to say were parked?
Yes, it is possible to say were parked, and
But
in fact, I would
past,
also
it will
accept it.
be use only verb plus ed.
Yes, I would accept. I would accept both of them, which were parking at that moment, or which were parked already.
Excuse me,
Course, I
teacher.
would accept. Yes, please.
On our screen, we have only the last exam, not this one. Our screen didn't change.
Okay. How about now? I have just simply repeated the same operation, and it's okay. Can you see now on the screens second
No.
exam?
No, not yet.
Same problem, Fisher.
No, we cannot see.
You can see
Very
only
strange.
all the exam.
You're still seeing the old exam?
Yes.
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 Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
teacher.
You know what? Okay, you know what I will do? I will simply close. Okay. How about now?
No, we cannot
Screen
see.
is black now.
Yeah.
You can see only the black screen.
Oh my god.
Still seeing practice exam number 1? Because I closed
No.
that.
Now it's the black screen.
We can see nothing, sir.
I don't know. I mean,
Just
I
on the
closed.
presentation and reshare it again. Yes.
Okay.
There is only a glitch in this free platform.
I don't know what's the problem. I have retried, and now it's taking too much time to open. Probably it's due to the connection.
Now it works, teacher.
Sir, the screen is working now.
It's not the teacher.
Okay.
You guys are trolls, man.
Now we need the teacher.
Muad, please explain.
I can see the screen again.
Now the teacher is here.
Your mic, teacher. We can't hear you.
Your mic is muted, teacher, if you are talking. Your mic is muted.
Now it's okay?
Yes.
Yes, teacher.
Yes,
it's
teacher,
okay.
it's okay.
Okay.
Teacher, can you
So then
accept
I
some
was
students?
talking about number
To start.
Yes, I have just accepted some, but normally, I mean, we had time for them to come in. I don't know why they are coming this late, because they are disturbing us. Okay. So then I was talking about sentence number 2, which were parking. I said I can accept both which were parking or which were parked. Detectives Claude and Marcel were hiding at that moment, they were hiding in a black Peugeot. So then that's why here we accepted in number 2, the cars were parking and Claude and Marcel were hiding. 2 of their colleagues were sitting at the same time in another car. So they were all waiting for orders to catch who? Jean Bourjour, who is a hardened criminal who had fled. So all the action of fleeing happened before the action of being, parking, hiding, etc. So first paragraph, I think it's clear. Now I will scroll down earlier that day. So now we are going to report what happened before that day. Earlier that day, an informant had phoned. Okay, I would accept here also phone, but had phoned is better. The police, why? To inform them that Bourjour was hiding. He was hiding during the time when he phoned in an apartment in the southern suburb of Paris. However, when the police searched the house, what happened? They found no clues which indicated that Bourjour was staying in that place. Or, in fact, here I would also accept had been staying in that place. I agree with me in number 12, was staying or had been staying before the police arrived. The apartment belonged to a woman who the police suspected that she had helped. So that and she is removed, that she had helped the criminal to escape from jail and provided him. So it's in the same tense, had helped and provided him.
Teacher?
Yes, please.
Sorry to interrupt you. Please, about the verb belongs.
Which number is it? Which number?
I think number 13.
Number 13.
Yes. It's a general fact, that's one. The apartment belongs. The apartment belongs to the woman.
Yes, but in fact, yes. In fact, we don't know. We don't know whether it is really still true. It's a fact. Maybe it was a fact in the past.
Yeah.
So the apartment belonged. If we say belongs, that means we still know that it still belongs, and we have no evidence that it still belongs.
But there is no evidence that. Yeah.
So there is no evidence about the present fact. However, we are talking about the past, so it was true in the past and that we are sure of. But we are not sure about the present, if it is still true that it belongs to her. So that's why it's safe to use the it belongs. Okay, now I'm scrolling down to the next paragraph. What confirmed the police suspicion?
Sorry, teacher. Another question for the second paragraph. So for the number 14, we have two verbs. We have suspect and help. Can we make, for example, the police suspected helping the criminal? Because the first one, it's in the simple past, and the second one, we can make ing instead of...
What tense is this, helping? What tense is this? Is not a tense. You understand? This is not a tense. Not a tense.
Okay.
That's the reason why. Because we want you to put the verbs in tenses, and helping is not a tense. Helping can be used as a present participle or as a gerund, but it's not a tense.
Okay, teacher, thank you.
Okay.
Can I ask another question?
In the same paragraph?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
I just would like to ask you about the verb number 8, hide. Can we put it in the past perfect continuous?
Early that day, informed and informants. Okay, okay. What do you want to say? That number 8
had that bonjour had been hiding.
Is possible. Yes, was hiding or had been hiding. Is possible.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, logically it's possible. Yeah. Please don't ask me about previous paragraphs anymore, because once I scroll down, I don't want to scroll back. Okay? What confirmed the police suspicions was a receipt from Air Continent with the woman's name on it. Around 3:15, a small car parked in front of the building and a couple got out of it. So all of this in the past. The woman looked rather drunk, or at that time she was laughing. So here we need the past continuous. Before the man closed the car, the detectives had jumped on him. So then the action of jumping happened before, okay, the action of closing. So then, what was the first use post the past perfect? Yes, please.
Sorry to interrupt you. Can we use just jumped without had?
It is also possible.
Oh,
but in here it is clear to, it's much clearer to put past perfect to show that jump happened first and then the man closed or tried to close the car. So the detectives were very quick. First they jumped on him and then he tried to close the door. But since the two actions happened almost at the same time, we could also accept for 24 also the past simple. But bearing in mind that they jumped first and then he tried to close the door. So then jumped and forced him. Okay, and forced him to lie on the ground. Bonjour's girlfriend started at that time yelling that he's crying and insulting, while, so then after a while, normally we have continuous, while the detectives were driving them to the police station. 6 months earlier, So here we are talking about before that arrest. Beaujour was serving 20 years. So it's a long action, a 20-year sentence for armed robbery and attempted murder. The police and the media described Beaujour as one of the most dangerous criminals France had ever known. That means before. He had robbed, that is, he had robbed before he was put into prison, a bank in Marseille in 1978. And he had taken, so he had robbed and had taken. So here had is implicit. Took clocks, hostages before he ran away. So then first he robbed, had taken, and after that he ran away. And he, here again, we have what we can call the passive voice. This is conditional type 3. Conditional type 3. If plus past perfect plus past conditional. He would not have been caught if one of his friends had not betrayed him. So then here it's very clear it's about conditional type 3. Is this clear for you, conditional type 3? Using if plus past perfect plus past conditional?
No, teacher, it's actually not that much clear.
Well, conditional type 3, as you know, we are talking about the past. So since we are using conditional type 1 for the present, if past, present plus future, we are using conditional type 2, if plus unreal past plus conditional, also for the present. If I were you, I wouldn't do that. It is still conditional type 2, but it talks about the present. It does not talk about the past. Why? Because here we are talking about what we can call unreal past. So then, if we want to talk about the past, then we use conditional type 3. And in conditional type 3, we use if plus past perfect. Sorry, still accepting. If plus past perfect plus past conditional. So today, I can use conditional type 1, or I can use conditional type 2. In conditional type 2, I have if plus unreal past. Why do I call it unreal past? Because it is past only in form, but the meaning is in the present. So when I say, if I were you, I wouldn't do that. If I were you, when? Now, I'm talking about now. Now, if I am going to talk about the past, then I will have to use the past perfect, not the past. Why? Because I have already used the past simple for conditional type. And this is the case here. We are talking about the past. He would not have been caught. Now, notice here, we are using conditional type 3, but we are also using the passive voice. The police would not have caught him. The police would not have caught him if one of his friends had not betrayed him. So here we don't have the subject, which is the police. So obviously we are transforming the sentence into the passive voice. He would not have been caught if one of his friends had not betrayed him. So then the sentence is, if one of his friends had not betrayed him, the police would not have caught him. That's the normal sentence. In conditional type 3 that talks about the past. Well, I hope now it's much clearer, isn't it?
Yes, teacher. Thank you.
Fine. Next paragraph. On April the 6th, 6 months ago, again, we are talking about the past. Bonjour managed to climb to the prison roof while most of the guards were there. They were watching the rugby match opposing France to New Zealand. And at that time, they were unaware of what the gangster was doing. The gangster was preparing to escape. A few minutes later, what happened? I'm scrolling down to page 3. The alarm sounded when a helicopter hovered over the prison and snatched. Now notice that in number 40, I could also accept was hovering.
Okay.
Because it's a long action.
Yes.
The
What I want
helicopter
to ask
was
you about
hovering.
this one. Yes, because for
Yes.
me, hovering is an action which it will take time. The helicopter will
Yes.
stay a long time above.
Okay, well, here we have two interpretations. Either one, that is the action of hovering took time, and then we would say when a helicopter was hovering over the prison and snatched, or it did not have take a long time, because here we have to be aware that it's something to be prepared very quickly, otherwise the police would realize. So then the helicopter hovered and snatched. That means it's something that took very little time.
It takes time to teacher for this action, but hovering it's long period of time. It's not a sudden action. That's why
Yes.
we use.
Okay. What I am saying
Yeah.
is that we have two interpretations. Either
Yeah,
we
thanks,
consider
teacher.
that the action was very short, because here we are talking about an escape in prison. So the action is very short. The helicopter hovered over the prison and snatched Bonjour. That's one interpretation. Or maybe the helicopter took a long time to hover, which I don't think is possible, because if it took a long time, maybe the guards would have heard the noise of the helicopter hovering and probably did some action. But the action happened very quickly that the guards did not even realize it. So that's why I put hover, but I also said I could accept was hovering.
Okay, teacher. What about the verb before?
Before that, especially that after that we have before the guards realize what had happened. So then it's something that happened very quickly before the guards realized. Yes, please. What was your question?
I just like to ask you about the verb before hover, sound. Can we put it in the past continuous?
Which one?
Sound.
Why sound? No. The alarm sounded.
Okay.
No, the alarm sounded when a helicopter hovered or was hovering. Now here it's very short time. It was one of the most spectacular prison breaks that, of course, here we are talking about something that had ever happened all over France. Next paragraph. Earlier that week, the criminal received the visit of a woman who informed him of what would happen on April the 6th and where he would hide. So here we're talking about conditional, because what happened and hide did not yet happen. So then we put it into the condition. Once the operation was over. On that Saturday afternoon, the helicopter took off from an airfield near Paris and flew over the city,
Teacher,
ignoring.
continue.
Teacher, can I ask you, please? Is it acceptable? Is it acceptable that we can say the earlier the last week the criminal received the visit of a woman who informed him of what would happen or what would be hidden?
Sorry, of what would happen or what would be?
Would be hidden on April 6th.
No,
and
no,
where
no,
he,
no, no, no. The woman came to him and told him, this is what would happen, this is what will happen, and this is where you will hide. So if we imagine the situation, the woman in the prison talking to him, this is what will happen, and this is where you will hide. So then will. Now we are reporting. So then informed him of what would happen and where he would hide.
Teacher.
Yes, please.
Can you accept some students who want to join?
Well, I mean, this is really too late, and
Actually, it's so disturbing.
Well, I see nobody who's trying to. No, nobody is trying to get in. Yes, well, just one. Butamat Muhammad, yeah. Okay, no problem.
Thanks, teacher.
Okay, and then the verb fly in the past is an irregular verb. Say, flew over the city, ignoring the authorities' warnings that it was infringing the ban on low-flying overnight. When journalists interviewed the prison warden, he said, so here again, we have between quotation marks, we have the speech. That means we are talking as if the person is in front of us and he is talking. The helicopter dropped. This is what he said. The helicopter dropped a ladder which Bonjour climbed so that he got on board while an armed man was holding the guards at gunpoint. So here we finished the direct speech. Soon after, what happened? The helicopter landed. Okay, simple past, where at a clearing a few miles away, and the criminal and his accomplices ran away. Yes, in the past. It had not taken the police long before they found out where the helicopter had landed. But unfortunately, they found
no tank.
Unfortunately, they did not find anything that would help them itself. Next paragraph starts with the French Minister of Justice. What did he do? He criticized the prison warden and the guards for their lack of responsibility, while the detectives at the same time were trying. So when we have while, it's a clue that we must use the verb in the past continuous. We're trying to find out where the escaped prisoner was hiding. The warden wished he had not gone hunting on that Saturday when Bonjour ran away. So here we are making a wish about the past. So a wish about the past, obviously we use the past perfect. A wish about the present, we use the past simple, or what we can call the unreal past. Now, I am not, okay, I don't know, I am not watching a football match. I am doing a live session now. So if I want to make another wish about different from now, now I am doing a live session, and what I want is to be watching a soccer match now. So then I would say, I wish I were watching a soccer match now. But now I am not watching a soccer match. I am doing a live session. So in the past, if I want to make a wish about the past, I will have to use the past perfect. Why? Because I have already used the past simple for a present wish. It's like conditional type 2. We use the past for conditional type 2, which is unreal past again. And we use the past perfect for conditional type 3, which is in the past. Next paragraph. 2 weeks after the escape, what happened? The police had given up all hopes of finding Bonjour or any of his friends who the police thought had fled out of the country. They did not believe one of their informants, who 6 months after the criminals escaped swore. So the informant swore, it's an irregular verb. He swore that he had seen the criminal in a bar in the suburb of Paris. They did not believe him. But the police, what did they do? Would not have caught Bonjour if it had not been informed about his whereabouts. I think here we have a problem because with 79 we don't have not. Have you realized it, everybody?
Yes, but we guess that it must be a negation before.
Yes, of course. Okay. Anyway. Well, I think that's all about text number 2. If you don't mind, I will close it so that you can be able to see text number 3. And this is the last one. Can you see text number 3? Everybody?
Not yet,
No.
teacher. It's a black screen.
No.
Okay. So I think what I will do, as your friend suggested, stop sharing, stop presenting, or stop sharing, and then again, start again. What about now?
Yeah, it's working now.
Yes, teacher, it's okay.
Okay. Well, this text is relatively easier than the 2 previous texts. My first visit to Paris began, it's an irregular verb, in the company of some earnest students. My friend and I, therefore, being full of independence and the love of adventure, what happened? Decided to go off on our own and explore northern France as hitchhikers. So here we're talking about 2 Englishmen who wanted to go to France. We managed all right down the main road from Paris to Rouen because there were lots of vegetable trucks with sympathetic drivers. After that, we still made headway along secondary roads to Fécamp because we fell in with two family men who had left, that is before we met them, who had left wives behind and were off on a spree on their own. In Fécamp, having decided, does this structure remind you of something? We have seen similar cases. Yes. Can you imagine with me what was the original sentence that enabled us to put this having decided?
Choose a subject, two subjects.
Yes, we have the same subject in both sentences, and we have the past perfect in the first one, and we have after. So normally in Fécamp, after, okay, we have decided that it was pointless, etc., etc. We spent. So then, instead of after we had decided, we remove the subject because it's clear we are talking about the same subject, and we remove after, but then the verb is no longer conjugated, it's in the participle. So in Fécamp, having decided that it was pointless to reserve money for emergencies such as railway fares, we spent our euros in great contentment, carefully arranging that we should have just enough left for supper and an overnight stay at the youth hostel in Dieppe before catching the early morning boat. Dieppe is, anybody to tell me why we put is in number 10 while for the others
It
we
is a
have?
fact. It is a fact.
Very good. Okay.
So we can say Dieppe was only 50 miles away?
Yeah, no, because if you say was, that means it was in the past, now it has changed. But you know that distance does not change. It's as if you say distance between Casablanca and Rabat was 90 miles, 90 kilometers. We cannot say that. This distance is 90 kilometers. It's still the same distance. So then here it's a fact. We come back to present. Dieppe is only 15 miles away. So we thought it would be a shame to leave Fécamp until late in the afternoon. Okay, next paragraph, please. There is a hill outside Fécamp, a steep one. We walked up it quite briskly, saying to each other as the lorries were climbing, because it continued. As the lorries were climbing past us, that after all, we couldn't expect a French truck driver to stop on a hill for us. It would be fine going from the top. It probably would have been fine going at the top if we had got there, or if we had gotten. I would accept both, got or gotten, because it's the past participle of the verb get. Gotten there before the last of the evening truck convoy passed on its way westwards along the coast. We failed. That is, we did not succeed. We failed to realize that at first. And what happened? We sat. So then, sat is in the past, fail also must be in the past. In dignified patience on the crest of the hill. Full stop. And then we were sitting there 2.5 hours later, still dignified, when something happened. When we noticed dazzling neon light down ahead. Then what happened? we went about 200 yards further down a little bistro to have some coffee and ask for advice from the proprietor. He told us that there would be no more trucks and explained that our gentlemanly signaling stood not the slightest chance of stopping a private motorist. Here, motorist, someone with a car. Next paragraph, what do we have? We have quotation marks. What does this remind us of, quotation marks?
Direct speech.
No.
Very good. Direct speech, as if the person is talking in front of you now. This is the way one does it. He explained. So then he explained, it's reported speech, but then between quotation marks, we have exactly what he said as if he is talking now. And then he explained to them how to do it. Jumping into the center of the road and completely barring the progress of a vast gleaming car, which contained a rather super serious Belgian family who obviously thought nothing at all of two bedraggled English students. However, having had to stop, notice again the same situation. Having had to stop, so we have removed the first subject and we have changed the past perfect into participle. However, after they had to stop, they let us into the back seat. So they, same subject. We removed the first subject and we changed the verb from the past perfect into this participle. Conversation was not easy, but we were more than content. Can anybody tell me what we mean by the word content?
Happy? Satisfied?
No. Content here has nothing to do with French content.
Oh, okay.
Yes, nothing at all. So here we would rather say
to accept or stay quiet.
To be content is to be, let's say, satisfied, but it doesn't mean to be happy. It has nothing to do with happiness as the French mean.
Even in French, we can see it. We can say se contenter. On accepte ce qu'on a.
Oh yes, but in this case, it has to be with la forme pronominale, se contenter de. Not être content, which is to be happy. So être content, to be happy. To be content does not mean to be happy. It simply means to be satisfied with it, but does not mean to be happy. And the noun from content is contentment. Contentment, that means satisfaction. Okay? To stay quiet until the car halted, that is, stopped suddenly in and out of the way village, far from the main road. We learned to our surprise that the Belgians went no further, that is, they stopped there. They left us, that is, the Belgian family, standing disconsolate on a deserted country road, looking sorrowfully after them as the real lamp disappeared into darkness.
Sure.
Yes, question?
Yes, please. In this paragraph, we are talking about some action that the action was have a long period as disappearing, because when they are get out from the car, they are looking to the car, to the real lamp with those disappearing. Not yet. Is it or not?
Well, I would say that here the verb disappear,
Yes.
okay, implicitly refers to a quick action because it's not something, we say to disappear, it's not something that takes a long time. It appears.
Because the students are.
Okay. It's like to say to appear. It's the verb to
Disappear
appear
because the
cannot say
students
it is
aren't
appearing. You
Please,
cannot say.
explain it.
Okay, yeah, it's
we
appear
use
or
this
disappear. Okay, appear or disappear.
Disappear.
Okay, they
Yes,
are not
disappear.
verbs that accept an ing form. So you cannot say it is appearing to me. It appears to me.
No.
And disappear is the
Thanks,
opposite. Okay. Next paragraph then.
Because teacher, in these cases, the students are unsatisfied for this action, so they are looking for the real of the car disappearing slowly, not very fast action. The action that's not sudden.
Yes, I don't know. I mean, when you say disappear, this implicitly it's a verb that, I mean, takes a little time. So you don't need to put was disappearing, because if you say was disappearing in the middle of another action that is short. You understand? I mean, it was disappearing while something else happened, which we don't have here, but we have only one verb. I guess, I mean, disappeared, it's enough, but I don't know if you want to put disappearing to be very specific, it's not really a big problem. But honestly, I would accept disappear. Because again, as I said, appear or disappear are verbs that normally don't accept the ing form. Okay, shall we move on?
Thanks.
Okay, next paragraph.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, next paragraph. We walked in what we believed to be the general direction of Dieppe for a long time. And about 11 p.m., we...
Sorry, teacher.
Yes, please.
Sorry to disturb you. Yes, for the first verb 31, walk. For me, as we have for a long time, that means the action will take more time. So I put we were walking in what we believed to be the general direction of Dieppe for a long time.
Now, let me tell you. Now, even if you say we walked, even if we say we walked, it does not mean it's a short time. It is still a long time. But then, if you want to use we were walking, that means you are preparing us for another action that is in the middle of we were walking, which is not the case here. So don't believe that just because you said we walk, it's a short time. It is still a long time. We walked there for 20 minutes. It's not a problem. So even if it's a long time and I have one action, I cannot use the past continuous. It's not because it's long that I must use the past continuous. And it's not because I use the past simple that it is short. So here walk is still a long time. So then we walked there for 30 minutes. 30 minutes, it's a long time. But then I can use were walking for less than 30 minutes if there is another action that is short that will happen. Or if there is another action that is also long. If I have only one action in the past simple is enough. And even though I use the past simple, it does not necessarily mean it is a short action. So we use the past continuous in the past only if I have a short and a long action, or I have two long actions, which is not the case here. We walked in what we believe to be the general direction of deer for a long time. Full stop, one action, we walked. Now, if we were walking in what we believe to be the general direction of deer for a long time before, okay, or when, let's say, someone stopped, here I would accept we were walking. Why? Because in the middle of that action we were walking, someone stopped, which we don't have here.
Okay, okay, teacher, thank you. I get it.
Again, don't believe that because it is past simple, it is a short action. It is still a long action. But if you put the past continuous, it's not because it is a long action. It's because there is another action. And that other is either short or also long. If I have one action in the past, then the past simple is enough. I hope it's clear. Fine. So then at about 11 p.m., we heard far in the distance a low-pitched staccato rumbling. We ran to a rise in the road, and from there we saw as if it were some mirage, a vast French truck approaching us. Next paragraph. It was no time for half measures. We had to take a quick decision. My friend sat down by the roadside and hugged. Here I expect hugged with double G. If someone puts just one G, it will be considered as a mistake. Spelling is considered as a grammar mistake in tenses. When the final consonant of a verb must be doubled, it should be doubled. If you don't double it, it will be considered as a grammar mistake. So if you put hugged with just one G, it will not be accepted. If you put permitted with one T, it will not be accepted.
Professor.
If you go back to your course, you will have explanation of spelling, that is of doubling the final consonant. And
Yes, I think that when we have a CVC, we have in the past, we have in a verb, we have to put this double consonant at the end.
Okay. Yes. There was a question coming, yes?
Professor, why we didn't use it was in the verb number 34? Verb to be. Why we didn't say it was?
Because here we have as if. It's imaginary. It's an imaginary tense. It's like to say, if I were you. If
okay.
I were you. We don't say if I was you. So here it's same situation. It, we normally we should as if it was, but here it's an unreal past. Okay, so then hugged with double G and permitted also with double T. Okay, I stood in the middle of the road and held my arms out. As soon as the lorry stopped, we rushed immediately out. Next paragraph. There were two. So here, I would not accept there was because the subject is two. There were two aboard, the driver and his relief. That is the person who would drive instead of him when they have to take rest. And at first, they thought, that is the driver and his relief, they thought we were a holdup. In fact, it was not the case. When we got over that, that is we, went over that, They let us in, that is, they accepted us, and then resumed the journey. Anyone to give me a synonym of the verb to resume?
To complete?
Continue.
To continue, but exactly to continue after a stop. It's not just to continue, like to keep on or to carry on, but to continue after a stop. That means there was a stop, and then we resume. Next paragraph, please. We reached the youth hostel at Dieppe at about 1:30 a.m., or as my friend pointed out, precisely 3.5 hours after all doors had been locked. This is again passive voice. It's past perfect, yes, but it is passive voice. So I cannot accept after all doors had locked. The tense is correct, but the form is incorrect because here it's not active voice, it's passive voice. Why? Because we don't know who locked them. Or we can say after all, they had locked all doors. But we don't have they, so then we have, okay, passive voice. Again, I repeat, be careful about the passive voice in the final exam. You have few cases of them in the final exam. This, in fact, was not true because after we had climbed, we have after we had climbed, what happened? We discovered. So we climbed first, and then we discovered that the door to the washroom was not locked. Did not lock, was not locked properly, and we were able to make our stealthy way, that is without anybody noticing us, to the men's dormitory, where we slept soundly until roused, until someone, okay, roused us. We finished with the first paragraph, so the next text, it's different, that is, it's a different text. It was growing dark. So here we have the passive voice. Okay? Not like the previous one, we were walking. In the previous one, we walked because we have one sentence. Now, it was growing dark. We have past continuous. Why? Because after we expect another verb in the past simple or another verb also in the past continuous. It was growing dark when Stephen returned. So here it is clear I cannot say it grew dark because we have a long action and in the middle a short action. A summer mist rising a few feet from the ground spread. Here spread is in the past, but irregular verb doesn't change. Across the fields like a transparent wall, broken by scattered bars of light from the cottage windows. Question?
Yes, please. Why we can't use here present past continuous was spreading?
Why?
A summer mist. Yes, because the spreading is a long action.
Well, I have just explained to you a minute ago.
Yes.
Talking about walking. Yes. We have one action. It's enough. To use the past simple, it's still talk about a long action. Now, in the first sentence, it was growing. We don't have just one action. We have was growing and returned. In the
first is sorry to interrupt you, because in the first sentence it was growing. There is a full stop there. A summer mist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In the sentence, it was growing. We put past continuous. We have another verb in the same sentence in the sentence. Okay. Now the second sentence, which starts at a summer. We have only one verb in the past.
Yeah.
So we the past continuous. And it's not as we put the past simple that it is short. It is still long. So don't imagine that past continuous is long action and past simple is a short action. Don't believe this. This is not true. Past simple can also be a long action.
Thanks, teacher.
Okay, when I say we walked for 30 minutes, I put past simple. But walked for 30 minutes is not a short action, it's a long action. So it's not because it's a long action that I am going to say we were walking for 30 minutes, full stop. That's incorrect English. I don't use past continuous only because it is long. I have been saying, and I still say, we use the past continuous only if I have another action. This other action is either short or also long. If it is short, I put the past simple. If it is long, I put the past continuous for both actions. But if I have only one action in the past, then the past simple is enough. And the past simple does not mean a short action. Okay?
Okay, teacher. Okay.
Fine. So, to catch a chill and find ourselves in bed for a matter of days. He thought, full stop. And then it looked as though the fine weather had been over. That is finished for a while, and though he had no wish to catch cold, he felt somehow relieved, that is satisfied, as though the heat had oppressed. So here, as though means as if. So it's an imaginary situation in the past. Inside the wood, it was gloomy but still light enough to see. It did not take long to find the patch of deadly nightshade he had noted earlier. So two actions in the past, one before the other. He made a careful investigation and found, as he had expected. So he had expected before, he made and found that a large number of the plants appeared to have been cut off with a knife or a pair of sharp scissors. And there were traces. Traces is plural, so that there were footprints, as though, again, as though, as if. Whoever had gathered them then had gone to some trouble to find the sturdy ones. He examined those footprints with care and came to the conclusion that someone had trampled, that is before they found those traces, on the undergrowth hereabouts, most probably a man. He thought at first that it might have been Francis Bracken, but could not be sure, for the footprints suggested that they had been made by a pair of stumps. Notice again the passive voice. Please remember this, the passive voice, you will have many cases of them in the final exam. So be careful about this. And here we have a clue, we have by, so it's clear we're talking about a clue. And Francis did not wear boots, so no way it could be Francis. He remembered too that Francis was a nervous individual, seldom took the popular shortcut through Hollywood to the village, since he had been threatened. Again, passive voice, because we have by a tramp who was making a temporary home there. So that's long action. Okay, fine with the three texts. Do you have any questions now, please? Or we'll come back to the home screen.
Yes, teacher, I have a question, please. I want to ask you about the
It's
present
about the
perfect.
text, or it's a general? Yes.
I didn't hear you. The question
Okay,
that
I
I
mean,
have is
shall
about
I? So you're not asking about the text anymore?
no, I'm not asking about the text.
No. So I will close the text, and then I will stop presenting. No problem. Fine. Now you go ahead with any questions about any tenses, everybody, present perfect, past perfect, something that is not clear to you, go ahead, please. It's
So, teacher, I
yes.
have a question about the present perfect simple. So the form is has or have. Do we have a rule to use those auxiliaries?
What do you mean rule? Well, has is for he,
Because
she, it. Okay, he, she, and it. They are followed by has. All the other persons, I, you, we, they are followed by have. That's the rule.
because I just asked because in some examples you gave us in the course, they were like confusing. All of them
Like
used
what?
have, some used has instead.
Okay, can you remind me of the cases? Because I don't have the text in front of me. But anyway, let me tell you, we use have for all the persons. I have, you have, we have, they have, always. And then we use has for he, she, and it. He has, she has, it has. I don't
Okay.
remember, I don't have the text in front of me, but you can remind me of the example, and probably we can explain it. But normally the rule is he, she, it, followed by has, I, you, we, they, followed by have.
Okay, teacher, thank you.
Yes. Any other questions, please?
Yes, teacher. I want to ask you about the final exam. It will be like
Okay,
what
it's
we did.
it's Yamna Arwi or something?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, yes.
So for the final
your
exam,
question?
the final exam will be at we did. That means at text or just tenses with questions.
No, it's a text again. So that's the purpose of giving you the practice exams, is that you practice in the same conditions of exams.
And
another have a text. Okay, what you have to do, please read the text more than 2 times without putting any answer at all. And believe me, the more time you take in reading the text, the better. Take enough time to read the text more than 2 times. And then after that, you decide about which tense for the whole text and which tense for some part of the text. Okay? Is the
Okay.
text narrative or descriptive? And even so, be careful about direct speech when you have the quotation marks. And be careful again about passive voice when there is no subject. Okay,
Okay.
any other
Yeah.
questions?
Yes. And I want to ask you if you will take on consideration what's our participation in for the exam practice or not?
Of
What we need.
course, of course, of
Okay. Thank
course.
you.
Definitely, definitely. All the persons who have submitted practice or who have submitted answers for the practice exams, all the students will have a bonus. Be clear about this. Okay.
Okay. Thank you,
Now
teacher.
this is how it goes. You will have a final exam. I will correct it. If you have a very good mark or a good mark, fine with me. If you have an average mark or just below average, then I will check your participation into our Google Classroom in terms of the practice exercises, whether you have submitted the practice exercises before the deadline or after the deadline, and also the answers on those practice exercises.
Okay,
Yes,
teacher.
any
Thank
other-
you. Thank you.
Teacher,
Yes, please. Who's
what
talking?
about group two?
Najma?
Hamam, group two. What about some students who send exercise, but we are at group two?
Yes, if you are at group 2, you are still at group 2. You should have sent your exercise in group 2. But I accepted them because I want to help you for practice. So even if I want to help you, there is no way for me to help you because what I will get the exam answers of group 1, and I will get the list of students in my group 1 where I can put the mark. You understand the point? I will not be able to correct exam
Yes,
papers
teacher.
from other groups. I will correct only exam papers from group 1. And then
Okay,
I
teacher.
will have only the list of students in my group where I can put the mark or where I can give a bonus if need be.
Okay, teacher. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
can I ask you?
We have been on Google Meet for 2 hours and a half because now it's 7:30. You still have any questions?
Yes, sir. For the exam, we should write our answers on the
Okay,
papers
it's
or.
Abdelaziz Hajwi. Yes, Abdelaziz Hajwi. Is that you?
No, I'm Badr. My name is
But
Badr.
I don't. I mean, Badr Shanan. Yes, go
Yes.
ahead. Badr Shanan. Yes, what is your question?
On the exam, we should write our answers on the papers or just on Word. I don't know.
No. The best thing for everybody, including you and most for you, is to write on a Word.
Okay.
Because the clearer, the better. The clearer, the better. If it's not clear, then you will have difficulty to have your full mark. But if it is clear, believe me, you have a long advantage to get your full mark.
So, sir,
the best
you are
thing
allowing
is,
us to use Word.
Of course.
Okay. Because on the website they said we need to write our answers on papers, then take a picture of them, so we can send them on ENT platform.
No. I think the best thing to do is on Word. Why? Because it's clear, okay, and it's easily, how do we say, legible. This is the adjective legible. That means you can read it. When it's handwritten and just a picture, it's not that clear. And we had a bad experience last year with many answers that were not clear. And so if they're not clear, you won't get the full mark. So the best thing to do is use a Word format.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
And this is for all the exams, because you have to put yourselves in the shoes of the corrector. All teachers will have to correct a large
Teacher,
pile of exam papers. So
teacher,
if it's not clear, then you will not get the full mark. Yes, any question?
Teacher,
Yes, please.
teacher, but I have a problem in Word, in using
What do you
Word.
mean problem? What do you mean
Yeah, when
problem?
I want to answer my question, it doesn't want to work.
I don't know how it. I mean, you have to check with your classmates because it works for them.
I don't know.
It works for a long number of people. I mean, if it works for many people, it should work for you. If
And
it doesn't
he
work,
doesn't want to send.
Yes, yes.
well, these are technical problems. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you really have a technical problem with Word and you can't send it or you can't type it, you have no other solution than to use the traditional way of writing and then taking a picture and sending. But believe me, it's very difficult to have a clear picture and very difficult to have a full
Yes.
text in a photo. That's why I personally privilege a Word document because it's clear and there is no risk of missing some part of the document. I am talking from experience. Last year, we had a lot of people sending their answers and they thought they sent all the answers because they had 2 or 3 pages, but in fact, they sent only 2 pages. But if you had a Word document and you send the Word document, we will receive the full document, not just part of it. But when you have pictures, some pictures may be sent and some pictures may not be sent. And even so, not all pictures are well taken and clear to make it easier for the reader to understand what you want to say, to give you the full mark. Okay?
Okay, teacher, thank you.
Okay.
Teacher,
Professor, do we have to adopt this method for all the exams or just yours?
I'm not talking about all the exams. I'm talking about myself. And I'm talking for your benefit. For your benefit, if you use a Word document, it's better for you and it's better for me because it's safe and it's clear. If you find difficulty with Word format, take the risk to write on paper and make a photo and send it. In any case, you have to send your answers. The best way is to use a Word format, a Word document, very simple, very clear, very safe. If you can't do it, then use the easiest way, which is writing on a paper, taking a photo and
Take a
sending
picture.
it. Yes.
Clear.
But believe me, it does not work for everybody. As I told you, we had a lot of bad cases with people sending one photo instead of 2 or instead of 3, etc.
I prefer working on the Word. It's easy.
Yes,
I just asked
think
for.
it's not just easy, it's safer. Okay, it is safer and it's clearer. If you send the Word document, you can't send just part of the document. Either you send the whole document or you don't send anything. Now, if you just send photos, normally you will have 2 or 3 photos. Probably you end up sending only 2 out of the 3. And we had many cases like this last year. People thought they sent all the documents, but in fact we received only 2. And of course, I corrected only what I received. So it's too bad to correct only part of it. But then if you use a Word document, it's very clear. Any more questions, or shall we call it a day?
Professor,
Yes, please.
please, about exam, is the same for
Mhm.
all group or each group have once?
No, it's the same exam for everybody.
Thank you, teacher.
Same exam, same text, but it will be corrected by different teachers, that each teacher will correct the exams for his own students. So that's why you have to specify in the exam the group number and your teacher. Group
Teacher?
1, okay, Group 1 is Professor Fatih. Group 2 is Professor Boudlali.
Can I
Okay,
ask you?
and Group 3 it's Professor, I don't remember her name, Sukaina.
Can I ask you?
At the exam, we can write just the number of verb and we write a verb. Yeah. Okay, teacher.
Yes, that's it. And that's if you use just the normal thing, write the number of the verb and the answer in front of it, one after the other.
Sir, can I ask you?
Yes. So now I remember the name is Professor Sukaina Awaqi. That's for Group 3. So very clear. Group 1, Professor Fathi. Group 2, Professor Boudlali. And Group 3, Professor Awaqi. Yes. Any more questions?
Can I ask you, sir?
Yes, please.
We have a big problem in our platform, in our website. It even doesn't work sometimes.
So
So what we gonna do in the exam?
what do you think? What do you think I can tell you? This is really a technical problem. I don't know how I can help you personally. I am a teacher. I can help you in grammar, in answers, but this is really a technical problem. If it is a technical problem, it's a technical problem for everybody or somebody.
Maybe we can send you the exam in another application or another
No,
website.
no way, no way, no way, no way. Don't take any risk. It's very strict. Use the platform and only the platform. Don't take any risk. Okay? Don't take any risk. Use the platform and only the platform. Follow the instructions of the platform. I have received a video telling you how to do it. I will try to see how I can send it on the Google Classroom for you to review and find out about the steps how to follow. But please use the platform. Don't adventure and take risks using other means, because it may be lost.
Thank you so much.
Okay?
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Well, remember that I will still be available in Google Classroom if you have any questions concerning grammatical items. Okay, no problem with me. I will find some time to answer some of them or all of them if you don't have them. Yes, please.
We can send it with the form as PDF.
Why? If you want to send it in PDF, it has to be in Word format first. So then, if you have it in Word format, why do you want to convert it into PDF? The Word format is enough.
Okay.
Because if you want to send it in PDF, it has to be in Word format first. If you have it in Word format, that's enough for me. Why do you want still to convert it from Word to PDF and then send it? Just a Word format is enough.
Okay, thank you, teacher.
Yes, I can't edit in PDF, but I don't want to edit. And so in Word format, it's very easy. First step, it's enough. The idea is just to send your answers, very clearly stated, number, and then the exact tense. Yes, someone said PDF is for read only. That's true. You cannot edit it. You cannot change it. Okay, shall we call it a day?
Thank you,
Fine.
Mr. Fathi.
Thank you, everybody, and good luck. But
Thank you, teacher. Thank you. Thank you.
don't forget to still can ask me any questions.
Thank you
on Google
for your
Classroom,
time,
and
teacher.
good luck, everybody. Bye-bye.